Okay, find the probability of correctly answering the first three questions on a multiple choice test if random guesses are made and each question has 6 possible answers. Okay, well, we're going to calculate the probability, but step one is to read the problem and sort of interpret what approach to take or what rule of probability to take. So in this case, we're not answering one question, we're answering the first 3 questions. So that's a 3-step process. We answer number 1 first, then we answer number 2, and finally, we answer number 3. So we're looking for the probability of 3 things happening one after another. That is the multiplication rule. Multiplication rule. Now with the multiplication rule, the general multiplication rule is P of A then B equals P of A, probability that A comes first, times the probability of B given A. Given A has already happened. Let's get rid of this arrow here. So this is the general multiplication rule. And if the events are independent, then this probability of B given A is simply probability of B. Okay, so in this case we have three events, and we could call them event A is number 1 is correct. And event B is number 2 is correct. And finally, event C is that number 3 is correct. Okay, and since there are 6 possible answers and only one of them is right, you have a 1 in 6 chance of guessing the correct answer. So for problem number 1, the probability of A, the probability that number 1 is correct, is equal to 1 out of 6. And these events are independent, so whether or not problem 1 is correct has no bearing, no effect on problem 2 being correct. So the probability of B is also 1 over 6, and the probability of C is 1 over 6. Okay, so the event is the first, all of the first 3 questions are correct. So we're looking at the probability of A, and then the probability of B, and then the probability of C. So the multiplication rule says, let's get rid of that. The multiplication rule of probability says that the probability that the first 3 are correct should equal the probability of A times the probability of B times the probability of C, which in this case is 1 over 6 times 1 over 6 times 1 over 6, or we could simply say 1 over 6 to the 3rd power. Okay, so let's pop that into the calculator. 1 over 6, close parenthesis, and raise that to the 3rd power. So we could express probabilities in terms of a fraction. So is 1 over 6 times itself 3 times, or 1 over 6 to the 3rd power, is exactly 1 over 216. So if you need it, we could express a probability as a fraction. This would be 1 over 16, or we could round that. We could round that to a decimal, so that's option 2, change the answer to a decimal. And that's about 0.004, let's use 3 significant digits, 4, 6, 3. Let's say 0.00463. And if we wanted to convert that to a percent, we should probably say, and we could say equal here. If we multiply this by 100, so we move the decimal point twice, that would be 0.463%. So I mean, it really comes down to the directions on the individual problem. Does it say express the answer as a fraction? Does it say express the answer as a decimal? Or does it say express the answer as a percent? Either way, the chances of guessing all three questions correct, very low, just under 0.5%. Okay, so let's do one more while we're here. Oh, no, that looks like the same one. Okay, yeah, we'll stick with just this one. Okay.